Nowadays, people are very busy, always thinking of how to make money and then spend it. The only thing they're concerned about is their future. Parents earn money and then spend it on their children. Everything they want seems easy to get. Toys, dolls, card games, board games, even computer games can be easily found anywhere. But does anyone remember there used to be a classic entertainment on the beach a very long time ago? A traditional culture, puppetry. A puppet is not a plaything anymore. They're used in performance or displayed in the museum as a memory. This generation can hardly get in touch with it. Fortunately, there are still some puppeteers who would like to pass this traditional culture on to the next generation.
And now for our play by the best actors in town, for fairy tales, nursery tales, folk tales, coat tales, pig tales and curry tales.
It's nice to retain things from the past, and also the stories which you find in puppetry are very creation myths. They're very often very basic tales from all of our cultures, and it just comes up through the centuries, in connection also with the word of mouth storytelling. And the whole concept of this character coming to life was really interesting, and I think there's very special ideas that you can get out using puppetry. So it's a special kind of medium that can deliver a certain kind of message, and that's what's interesting about it. And we started off with doing our own puppet shows, which were directly for the audience that was sitting in seats, so to speak. But more recently, what we've been trying to do was to break down the more traditional structures and try to make a more physical kind of performance. We've also done that because we've been touring abroad quite a lot, and if you use too much language, children can't understand. So one of the reasons why we wanted to make it physical without language and sort of more mimic that is why we created this piece of work that we've just done, Forest of Fables. And we've worked both with adults and with children. The idea simply was to make a stage in which the audience, particularly the children who actually made puppets themselves, could come onto the stage and could actually join with us in what appears to be quite a simple way with simple materials. And so that was the basis for making Forest of Fable. We've been through a whole cycle of using different types of materials in creating puppets. First of all, we actually researched it ourselves, and then we started to make our own puppets, and they were rod puppets and hand puppets. And we, in connection with our work, we also did a lot of workshops, working with children, and it's really nice for them to be very hands-on. And then we've also experimented with different ways in which puppets can contact audiences. We particularly wanted to work in a more physical way, so we wanted to take away the booth and the traditional scenery, if you like, and to work in a kind of more open space, more physically, and also even with the puppets themselves, to try to find ways of creating characters without necessarily having a ready-made doll. And the idea of keeping it quite simple and quite accessible was so that we could have children who could make things out of very, very simple eco materials, and how that they could then join in with the show.
And jump, and jump. Last time, jump, and we go fast. Jump, 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 and shake. We go forward and back, forward and back. Fantastic. To side, 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 and forward and back. Fantastic. Forward. Guess what's coming next? To the side, to the side, to the side, to the side, and
jump. And back.
Yeah, a little bow. And a round of applause.
I think that's very important for the kids to be part of the performance as much as being part of the making. And if you think about this thing, they made the puppets, they used them, and so they begin to understand the continuity of how everything goes together. They're not just passive and watching it and entertained like everything else in life seems to be. Which is very child-friendly and orientated. So we got an invitation to come along to a puppet workshop, which sounded interesting enough. So along we came, not knowing what we were letting ourselves in for. Right, guys?
Yeah, and I like puppets.
We like puppets and making things. So it's quite interesting because at the beginning, when all the kids were standing around with rolls of newspaper, everybody was quite unsure whether this was very interesting, really, or cool. But it was very interesting to see what people then made when they were given a few bits of newspaper. We'd never do that at home, would we? We might do now.